a video, like an edited video, but I didn't have time. Hey, look, man, don't take this serious, man. This is strictly just chopping it up. This is just talking and kind of reminiscing. So everything I'm about to say is not really factually accurate and vetted and fact checked and all of that type of stuff. I'm just mainly speaking on observations. So shout out to CJ Goodfella of the Goodfella channel. Because I saw him talking about this last night. Well, I saw a video of his about Questlove, Amir Thompson, the drummer of The Roots and co-founder of The Roots, has an appearance on Talib Kweli's People's Party podcast. I haven't listened to this particular episode just yet, but what CJ was talking about was there's some part in the episode, I guess, where Questlove mentions that Jay-Z, that he asked Jay-Z or something, or approached Jay-Z about getting Black Thought more features, on other artists' music or other artists' songs and whatnot. And I guess some kind of conversation ensued where Jay-Z said why, there wasn't a lot of work out there for Black Thought on other people's projects. Now the hilarious thing here, and again with CJ over here on Pay Me No Mind with Bite Down Boxing, we both talk about a lot of boxing. And it's always funny that the boxing game, the parallels between boxing and rap music and MCs, boxers and MCs. And it's the same old thing, like styles make fights. And then what's the risk and reward of fighting so-and-so? What do you bring to the table? So the funny thing here with this coming up is that, of course, this brings us back to the whole situation with Jay-Z and Eminem on Renegade. That's this kind of as the conversation goes along in social media. And I'm seeing some other videos. So there's the conversation that whether or not Jay-Z was sunned or murdered. And that's what I guess Jay told Questlove. Like, nobody wants to get embarrassed on their own song. Okay. Shout out to Big Pun. My man Latours just asked me about Big Pun last night. We know Pun had Thought on his song back in the day, Lyrical Attack or something. I can't remember the name of the song, but he was one that was very big on Black Thought very early, and he said Black Thought was like his favorite MC, so that's why he did a song with him. Okay, so getting to Renegade and Jay and Eminem. Renegade came out in 2001 on Blueprint. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I never heard Blueprint. I didn't buy it. I didn't get into that album. I don't think I listened to it in its entirety until last year. So I come back to that album like 19 years later. I've heard Renegade a couple of times. I really don't have a winner on that song between Jay-Z and Eminem. And again, styles make fights. Like the stuff that Jay-Z was rapping about and the way that Jay-Z raps and the natural rhythm of a black artist, a black man, versus the stuff that Eminem does and his subject matter, it's different stuff. So I don't even have a winner in that. The funny thing was Nas comes out and says, Eminem, when he does Ether, Nas says that, Eminem murdered you on your own shit. I'm not the biggest Ether fan in some ways, as it being like this great diss record. I'm just not. But the funny thing was a lot of people ran with that Jay-Z was murdered and embarrassed by Eminem on his own record. Nobody notes, though, that in 2002, a year after Renegade, Nas has a song produced by Eminem on his God's Son album, The Cross. It's produced by Eminem and another cat named Bass, last name Bass, one of the Bass brothers. And I just always thought it was funny when I listened to Godson that Nas chose to get a beat from Eminem, but I don't want no verse. Just send me the beat. I don't need no verse from you. I just want the production. And no one ever said anything. When years later or whatever, when Ether comes out and he makes that comment, nobody said anything about Nas. This is what's funny. And like I said, it's the similarities between hip hop and rap, or boxing and rappers. It's funny how we pick and choose when we're going to hold somebody's feet to the fire or when we're going to call them out for a discrepancy or a flat out lie, or whenever we got to go back to address something. If that's our favorite artist, we just roll with it. And I thought that was funny, man, that Nas was like, yeah, I want me an Eminem beat, but I don't want no verse from you, bro. I don't want no smoke. Because Nas knew. For him to rap along all that lyrical dexterity and all the crazy flow and the energy and the change in his voice and all the different cadences, that's not Nas's game. So why would you get on a track with him and play his game? Why would you fight Eminem's fight? Doesn't make any sense. So getting back to the whole topic of this though, with Black Thought. Throughout the years, like, why would you have sought Black Thought out to get him on your track when Black Thought really hadn't established himself as a standalone artist away from what he did with the Roots? And the Roots were kind of over in their own lane, Grammy nominations, kind of mainstream adjacent a little bit. Nobody was really, I don't remember anybody really being too critical or too much into Roots projects, to be honest. I bought a couple of them, mainly the first one. I think after Philadelphia or whatever it was called, I would tap into some of the singles, but I just never really been a diehard Roots fan of their projects. I like the single here and too. It was dope when they got to be the house band on the Jay-Z album, and the different times where they got to be like the house band on some different shows or whatever. We all know they do the Jimmy Fallon show. So I've liked the Roots, but I just thought the production wasn't always there for what I like in my music. So I was never a big fan of their albums per se. But along that time, though, and I talked about this a couple of months ago when Black Thought came out with this Streams of Thought Volume 1, 2, and 3. He tried to come out solo back in the day, and I put the album, the 12-inch record. I had it on one of the earlier videos and was like, I bought this joint. It was called Hardware, and it was kind of basic. I mean, it didn't really take off for him. And this was back in the 90s. It didn't really take off for him. There was never any follow-up album that I'm aware of. And, he just kind of stuck with the Roots. Cool. So now when he comes off, for the longest of time, I have been sitting here like, man, when is this brother going to go off on his own and make his own project happen? When is his own album? Everybody else is doing it. Like, why can't this dude get it together? And he floated out there something about it was one group that Billionaire something, whatever and none of this stuff never happened. And then whatever it was 2 or 3 years ago, we finally got, I don't know if it was 17 or 18, 2018, we finally got Streams of Thought Volume 1. And that kind of was preceded by him doing that phenomenal freestyle on with Flex. And it opened everybody's eyes that he just sat there and burned down the studio for like, I don't know, 6 minutes, 9 minutes, whatever it was. And that's when everybody started really taking note and started, anticipating a solo project from Black Thought. And everybody else kind of caught up with what hip hop aficionados or the authorities on it what they already knew, what Big Pun already knew, that this dude is one of the nicest or maybe the nicest guy doing it. So prior to Streams of Thought Volume 1 and the Funk Master Flex Sit Down or Burn Down, then we get into Streams of Thought Volume 2. We also have at the same time we kind of have Royce the 5'9", I don't know, 2015, 2016. Royce the 5'9" is coming out of Slaughterhouse, hooks up with DJ Premier and jumps on. They start that Prime, the two Prime albums with all production by DJ Premier with Royce the 5'9" spitting. And then we kind of enter this different age, this new age of older hip hop artists, and 35 and up, and not necessarily, and just lyricists, not somebody, not the usual favorites like Jay and Nas. It's like these other dudes who've been here all along and been putting in work and who've been in this off to the side. All these dudes kind of came to the center. Joe Budden was another one, had a couple projects out there. But I say all this to say, until Royce, Black Thought, I guess Joe, until they kind of came and made this, brought about this change, there was really no reason, there was no justification to go out here and get Black Thought on your project or on your song. For what? What was going to be the payoff? You're going to have to go in there and rewrite your verse a couple of times, or you got to hope that he doesn't show up that day. I mean, he's going to make you work. And let's be honest, a lot of the dudes who were selling records, Fabulous, I don't know, Drake, a lot of these dudes who've been kind of and the Southern dudes, a lot of these guys wouldn't even make any sense for them to rhyme alongside with the Black Thought. Like the name the name doesn't, Fabulous featuring Black Thought. Like, what is that? Jadakiss featuring Black Thought. Like, it would really have to be a artsy dude or a real MC, a real lyricist that would even sit there and try to think of a creative way that's going to welcome in this artist that I admire, but not mess up what I do to sell records, like my gimmick. A lot of people weren't going, and that was the beautiful thing. And going back to Big Pun, that was the beautiful thing about his first album, was that Pun could make the radio song, I Don't Want to Be a Player No More. He could make the gangster song, Fast Life or Fast Lane, whatever it was. Fast Lane might be Cool G and Nas. The joint where they took the Dr. Dre and Snoop beat, and it was him and Fat Joe. Like, Big Pun could do it all. He was a very versatile dude. And like I said, he was ambitious enough or whatever, or had the vision, or was just strong enough. And this was a dope thing about Loud Records. Like, Loud Records did unique stuff. You could have been over at Def Jam and told Def Jam or the A&R, whoever was leading your project, hey, I want to get this song with Black Thought. And that A&R might have said, nah, man, we don't want you to get confused. We don't do that. Loud was kind of this weird record label to where they would do everything. They would give everything a try if it made sense. Look at the collection of artists that they had over there with the Alcoholics, Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep. You could do all of that type of stuff over there. So like I said, I don't really kind of agree with how this Questlove Jay-Z story is being chopped up and perceived by everybody. That Black Thought was really blackball. I mean, that Black Thought was blackballed per se. I just think, again, until Black Thought really established himself, kind of like a Marvin Hagler, not fighting for a championship until his 50th fight. and then goes on to be regarded as one of the top, definitely one of the top 2 or 3 middleweights, and then to be one of the best fighters of all time. Prior to Black Thought really stepping out there on a limb and really making himself a big deal and a real thing, there just wouldn't have been any upside on having Black Thought on your project. You know, I mean, and it's not too many MCs, or, you know, it's not too many rap artists who really set out, who really, you know, they have an objective of, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm going to change the game. I'm going to blah. A lot of them guys, they just want to do things that sell records. Nobody's trying to make no thoughtful song with Black Thought and get on, you know, the subject matter that you got to rhyme against with him. That's also, you know, getting ready to wrap this up, that's also a testament to, you know, Shay Noir last year with her As God Intended, with her and Apollo Brown. She went and got a feature from Black Thought. I think Cyrock on her recent album, she has a feature with Black Thought. Well, she kind of in that same lane. But Benny the Butcher on the Plugs I Met 1, he goes out and gets a feature with Black Thought. So it's some different dudes here, but that's how hip hop has really changed recently, to where it's popular. It makes sense. And then, like I said, Black Thought really established himself as this standalone MC. You know, I think he had a song. I think Black Thought did a little a digital video, a digital short or something, where for maybe it was a Phillies game. I mean, a Philadelphia Eagles game on Thursday Night Football or something. And at the halftime, you know, they had the different acts that were associated with that city or with that team, and they, during the halftime, they would break away and go to a performance. I think Snoop Dogg did a video for the Steelers. But when they did the Philadelphia Eagles game, Black Thought had put out one of his Streams of Thought projects, and they had him do his stuff. So like I said, it's timing. And again, it's just like boxing. Like you gotta break through, establish your brand, and then at some point in time, it makes sense for other artists, you know, to bring you in. At the same time, you know, Black Thought, as he's putting out his projects, he's getting certain features, guys to come over and be on his albums and whatnot. And then lastly, in closing, let's go to this recent album, Judas and the Black Messiah, the soundtrack, or the music inspired by Judas and the Black Messiah. Everybody came off of that, the release of that, talking about the Jay-Z and Nipsey Hussle song. And, you know, everybody, that was the word. But right before Jay-Z and Nip is this phenomenal record by Black Thought, and nobody even talked about it. So, and it's right on par sonically or production wise. The two records are comparable. But what Black Thought does on that record is ridiculous. And like I said, all of the people with major platforms, Monday after the album came out and people had a weekend or, you know, 48 hours to sit with the soundtrack, all the talk was Jay and Nip. You hear that Jay and Nip, you hear that Jay and Nip, and I'm sitting here with the Black Thought track on replay like 5-7 straight times. It was just a phenomenal record. Nas also got a lot of love on that with the EPMD song. And then you also got the R&B people were big on Her's record, HER's record, which was I think it was the second track on there. So everybody got all the love off of that project except for Black Thought, and he arguably has the most impactful song, the best executed song on there. So it's again, it's like boxing, man. You know, you might be great. You might be doing your thing in your own lane. You might be dominating in your division, but maybe 2 or 3 divisions above you is where all the big names are and the big fights. So you don't get any credit until you take your ass up to where the money is and you fight somebody up there. And somebody gives you a fight to allow you to showcase how dope you are. That's how it works. So, but yeah, that situation with Eminem and Nas, the Eminem and Nas, the cross record, and then for Nas to come out a couple of years later with Ether, or maybe was Ether on God's Son? I don't know. But to say that Eminem murdered you on your own shit, and like I said, I didn't find 10 fans of music that were like, yeah, but you didn't let Eminem rhyme on that record that you had Eminem produce. Like, no one called him out on that. That was funny to me. But that's how it goes. Anyway, man, pay me no mind. I just came on here to jump on here for some afternoon wood, man. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start in order to be great. Have a phenomenal weekend. Boxing tomorrow on the DAZN app. I believe it starts at 2 p.m. Eastern time. You know they fighting over in Gibraltar. Dillian White and Alexander Povetkin, the rematch. So that's going down. Last night, phenomenal, not a phenomenal, but great card on Ring. Actually, what Ring City USA accomplished with the 3 fights, the 3 cards in Puerto Rico, that was phenomenal. And what they've done with their first 6 or 7 shows has really been phenomenal. Then on April the 8th, I believe they have Charles Conwell and Ivan Golub in the main event. So, yeah, all in all, Ring City USA is doing some phenomenal stuff for boxing. While earlier today I saw some of the recommended boxing videos that came into my YouTube recommended list, you would have never known nothing about last night. But, you know, people are talking about Terrence Crawford talking about boxing. Like I said, boxing and rap, there's a lot of parallels there. Anyway, I'm out, man. Peace. Have a great weekend.